Good morning, Mustangs. It is Thursday, March 26th. If you're like me, you guys are starting to get a little bored of being at home, so hopefully this video will help you get through the DBQ and motivate some of you to start taking your work a little bit more seriously. I know a lot of response I've been getting is you're just overwhelmed with e-learning, that it's confusing. It is a learning curve. I think if this continues, obviously you'll get better at it. Just continue to look at correspondence from myself, Levine, and Baxter and Riedel, whether that's remind messages or emails, or if they're posting on Teams. You guys, this is kind of like college. This is how college works. Professors post things. There's things online. There's a lot of individual work and expectations that you're kind of just meeting the expectations on your own time. But in any case, so we're here today to talk about the DBQ, and this video is going to help you move from analyzing and annotating the documents to trying to organize the evidence into a logical and coherent essay. So let's get started. So the first thing you got to do is launch your OneNote and make sure that you are in this e-learning tab right here. All right here, that e-learning tab. And I'm going to start on page 5. We're going to look just real quick back at the prompt to make sure that you know what the question is actually asking. So one more time, we're just reviewing. You are writing an essay that is considering the evidence that you just read, which are all 12 documents I gave you. Was the Industrial Revolution more beneficial or more harmful to society? Now, a DBQ really is assessing your skill and ability to read and understand documents. So that's the first thing. Like, can you read and pull out a main idea and understand what you're actually reading and try to make sense of it in your own words? The second skill is, can you identify similar arguments between documents? The more of these connections you can find between the documents, the stronger your argument becomes. And they do not, are you okay? They do not have to be identical arguments. They just have to be similar arguments. So let's take an example. I'm going to show you an example, one from the beneficial docs and one from the harmful docs. So let's go to the beneficial documents, which I'm already at on page 6, and scroll down to documents 4, 5, and 6. Now there's clearly a connection between these documents, and that's what you got to find. So if you read the documents, the first thing you noticed in the document 4 is, it says steam engines create a vast demand for fuel and call into employment a multitude of miners, engineers, shipbuilders, and sailors. What that document is telling you is that this new invention of a steam engine, because it was brand new, now it created all these other jobs. You needed miners to go in and get the coal to burn. You needed engineers to design and build these things. You have new steamships, so now you're employing people building boats, and then you have people working on the boat. So this one invention led to a brand new, all these new jobs. So you have inventions that are creating jobs. And also at the end it says steam engines also help everyday people because they make our lives easier, which I think you guys, that makes perfect sense, because we live in an era of modern conveniences, refrigerators, ovens, cell phones, things that make our lives easier. So there's one thing. They're saying that inventions and technology improve your life. All right. If you look at the next document, which is this silly picture, you have a train. All right. Trains. All right. Well, what do trains do? Well, they can make trade faster. They can help you move around the country faster. You can go on vacation. You can get places faster. So then you have this graph that shows you that between 1750 and 1830, when trains were invented, that at one point in time it took 50 hours to get to Birmingham from London. Now with trains it only takes 10 hours. So it's significantly reduced travel time, okay? That is what should have been here, that trains significantly reduced travel time. And why is that good? Like I said, it's for trade, maybe even for vacations and travel, for personal reasons. Okay? And then in the last one now, this is what I mean by it has to only be a similar argument and not identical. So far we've seen steam engines and trains, which are very similar. But this last one is about medicine and how the Industrial Revolution helped advance medicine. So because all these new inventions were made, it said that things like microscopes that once took a long time to make now can be produced more quickly. Doctors and physicians were able to get their hands on them. Now you're improving diagnostics and being able to identify diseases faster. And so the Industrial Revolution also helped improve medicine. So when you're done with the documents, the goal is to find the connections. And if you guys remember, that's what our buckets are. So if you just quickly make 3 junky buckets. So what you're trying to find then are documents that have similar ideas. So for me, the 3 buckets with the beneficial ones is going to be definitely there's economic arguments. There are a few social, probably not the strongest, and then you have your tech. Notice that these are all inspect themes. Now the documents I just did, so documents 4, 5, and 6 all support that the Industrial Revolution helped improve technology, which was good for most people. All right, so that's how you find connections. Now this is going to help build your thesis. So eventually you're going to argue that the Industrial Revolution was beneficial because it improved the economy, it improved some people's social standing, like it helped the middle class and the upper class, and it improved technology. And these will be what you use in your body paragraph, the actual documents. So these are your topic sentences, and these are your body paragraphs. And here, the documents make up your body paragraphs. So let's take a similar example on the harmful effects. So page 7. So I'm going to use just the easiest ones down here. So you have this very short document from James Naismith, and it says, "By day and by night the countryside is glowing with coal fires. I watched decaying trees. I thought of the price we have to pay for our vaunted supremacy in the manufacture of iron. We may fill our purses," which means we're getting rich, we're making a lot of money, but the price that we're paying is the loss of nature and beauty. So even in 1830, notice this guy is already making an environmental argument for the effects of industrialization, and we're still feeling those effects today in the form of global warming, water pollution, air pollution, soil contamination, that kind of stuff. And then you have this drawing that goes with it that just shows you what a city looked like during the Industrial Revolution. It's crowded, it's dirty, people can barely get through the streets. Look at, there's horses here and carriages. You got to imagine they're pooping everywhere, and it's just dirty and disgusting. And this is what happened during the Industrial Revolution. It's called urbanization, is when lots of people moved to the cities. It just became overcrowded and overpolluted before we figured out good ways to improve sanitation and stuff like that. So if you look at all your documents for the harmful effects, you also will notice that there are connections between documents. And so the big 3, again, are going to be, of course, there's a social negative effect. There are definitely some economic negative effects. And then the one I just did is you have some environmental. So notice again that we're dealing with inspect themes. And this is document 13, even though there's technically 2 documents in 13. There's the picture, which you could use, and the text. And then on another document, I think it's the first one, that's talking about the slums and where the lower class needs to live. I thought there was one here that talked about, here, the slums, yeah. So it talks about how the streets are unpaved, filled with filth and garbage, which is what refuse is. They don't have gutters or drains. There's garbage and stagnant, stinking puddles. So there's garbage everywhere. the river is polluted. That's what's telling you right here. It's full of garbage. So you could easily throw that into the environmental argument as well. So once you go through all the sources and you have your buckets and your connections, then it's just time to move to actually putting it in a logical order. So I provided you this outline, and I'm going to be running out of time here on this video. So here is an outline. It's pretty generic, but if you follow along with it, it's got, here's what should be in your first paragraph, second paragraph, third and fourth paragraphs, which once you get to the body paragraphs, they kind of all repeat the same steps, so it shouldn't be too hard. The introduction paragraph has two parts, so this all goes together. You always start off with some historical background. When and where did the Industrial Revolution start? What was it? Why is it important? Like, why do we care about it? The end of that paragraph, it's all connected. Don't start a new paragraph or don't double space and then write a single sentence, is your thesis statement, the most important sentence in the entire essay. This is where you pick a side. Are you going to argue that it was mostly beneficial or mostly harmful? And you're going to use one of these two formats. Although the Industrial Revolution was beneficial because it, and this is where you'll just choose a bucket. Choose one of the buckets that I just made on the other page. So maybe you're going to say, although the Industrial Revolution was beneficial because it improved the economy, overall it was mostly harmful to society because it, and again, fill in the buckets. Now you only have to do two, so pick the two that you have the strongest arguments for. It was mostly harmful to society because it had horrible environmental side effects, and it oppressed the lower classes. That could be your thesis if you're arguing that it's harmful. Or you just flip it around if you're going to argue that it was beneficial. Although the Industrial Revolution was harmful because it exploited the lower class, overall it was mostly beneficial to society because it improved technology and the economy. There you go. That's a thesis statement. Now, once you're done with that, you move to your body paragraphs. So because this is argumentative, in the first paragraph you write, you are going to address the counter argument, which means the side you are not supporting. And then you should just be able to follow these steps. Topic sentence, all right? First topic sentence, just, again, you're just going to fill in the blank. I gave you a way to start it right here. Some historians argued that the Industrial Revolution was beneficial to society. Well, you're going to pick one. So it depends on what your counter argument is. To society, because it greatly improved technology. Let's say you're going to put technology. All right, then you write a paragraph about how technology was improved. So, for example, they argue that that medicine and health was greatly improved over time because of inventions made during the Industrial Revolution. That is something in your own words. All right, so you kind of summarize what the documents were saying about inventions improving people's lives. Then, after that, you support it with the actual quote from the document. So according to, don't remember the name, according to either Andrew use the author's names, or George Stevenson, or there's not an author on that one. So you could just use the title, according to the rapid evolution of medicine. All right, according to the name of the author, that's where you plug this in. Then there should be a comma there right after that. And then you give the quote. I'm sorry, the comma's over here after the author's name. Goes right there, right there. And then you give the quote, and then make sure you end the quote, and then this is important, then you put what document number it is. And then you kind of just do the same thing, but once you get to the body paragraphs, you are going to start your argument. So again, topic sentence, pick one of your buckets. Like right here, it says choose an inspect theme, and then this whole paragraph should be about this one theme. So for example, if you're talking about how it was harmful because it didn't hurt the environment, then that should be your topic sentence. Then you're going to have two examples in your body paragraph that prove that that is true. And then your last paragraph, you'll pick your second bucket, which let's say you're going to argue that it exploited this lower class. and then that's what this paragraph will be about. And